All right, I'm almost where I have to go. Keep my eye out for metal. I had a nice little metal run from a friend of mine yesterday. She had some metal. She's like, yeah. I pulled in the yard. She said, I didn't think you were gonna. I said, he's not gonna show up today. I said, oh shit, you showed up. You showed up when you said. I usually try to do that for people. If I say I'm gonna do something, I try to do it. Sometimes, you know, the cookie crumbles the way the cookie crumbles, but I usually try to do that. So in my last video, I was talking about the oil and ranting about other things. But yeah, somebody had mentioned that, you know, like if the engine light is on or the rough running is attributed to the bad oil. The oil sensor will shut down a vehicle if it senses like if your oil gets too like broken down and it's almost like water, there's too much water in your oil or not enough oil in your vehicle. Yes, your engine will shut down on its own to save itself, right? I've only ever experienced that with small engines, mainly Hondas. Never the Briggs and Strattons, only the Hondas. So the oil sensor, okay, on the Hondas is actually really good. And if your oil's too dirty, your Honda will not start. It will save itself. It will save itself from you. You know, it's like it knows you're an asshole. I never seen it happen with the Briggs, but I've seen it happen with the Hondas, right? And I was always like, ah, geez, you know, it's like I changed that oil 15 years ago. What's the problem? You know what I mean? Maybe there's just a sensitive machine. I don't know. But you know, I'm not like that as much with the vehicles. You know, with the vehicles, even Brutus I gave an oil change to. You know, at least I did one. Unico, I gave him one oil change in 4 years. So, but you know, I didn't expect him to last 4 years. You know, imagine if I would have done 2 oil changes. He'd probably like, he'd be like an family heirloom or something. It's like, this car got 2 oil changes. It's a Honda. And whatever. But yeah, I do know about the oil sensor thing, and that's why I'm suspecting the rough running, because I have seen 1A Auto, if you haven't checked out their channel. Oh, I'm just gonna have to cut there a bit. They were talking about that, like really bad oil will lead to stalling issues and stuff like that. But this is not like a normal stall. This is misfire and then a stall. And thumbs up for Thunder getting me to work here. Now notice I got a different key. I don't know if you ever noticed it, because yesterday I dropped my key and I heard something rattling inside, and then I can't shut off my car alarm. Yeah, so I know about the oil issue. That's fine, because when I do change the oil, I'm going to find out a lot about that, and then that will tell me if, okay, yes, my EGR valve was probably, the codes were probably correct, right? But that's probably just one of a couple of problems, whatever. So I got a P300 code, which is the misfire code, right? Which happens when this thing, I know one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my, because it's going to be like about 30 degrees. Give me back my key. So I got the P300 code. And the thing about that is that's the misfire code. Now, the misfire, I'm contributing to the EGR valve. But I got a bit of a misfire yesterday. It didn't conk out. Ever since I unhooked the EGR valve, I think what was happening is the EGR valve, even though it's disconnected, it was sending signals that it was doing its thing. And the fuel air mixture sensor was, you know, getting the pulse or signal from the EGR valve that it's doing its thing, and it's like it's trying to compensate for it, but it's not getting any measurement because there's actually no exhaust coming back into the manifold because it's disconnected, right? So that's probably confuses the computer, which makes your truck run kind of wonky, but probably not enough to conk it out. I think the conking out was due to the exhaust, too much exhaust gas going into the cylinders. But until it conks out again, we won't know. But that tells me, oh my God, look at all the mosquitoes. Maybe I might have created a monster by opening the window. That means I'm going to have to drive with the windows open for about 15 minutes just to get the mosquitoes out of here. So anyway, I got to finish up because I got to get to work. But I'm wondering if like I'm like sort of solving symptoms of a problem, of maybe 2 problems, right? So you guys were laughing at my pokey stick. Fine, if you want to laugh at my mechanical pokey stick, you can laugh at mechanical. But what that was about was shaking sensors and wires to see if the vehicle would hesitate or do anything like that. Because I see mechanics doing that too to find stuff. Like, you know, like you hit the wire, and if it the vehicle does something funky, you know, you might have a loose wire or a short there. So it's just a process of elimination, right? That's all mechanics really is process of elimination. So if I can eliminate the bad oil, hopefully next week, and then it will tell me more, you know, about, and, you know, like eliminating the EGR valve. And again, for anybody that wonders why I don't just put a new one on, I have a brand new EGR valve. It didn't come with bolts, and the other two remaining bolts, 2 bolts are snapped and off on the exhaust port of the EGR valve, and the intake port of the EGR valve are still, you know, the EGR valve is still on the truck, and I don't want to take those off. I want a mechanic to take those off with torches or something, because if I snap those off, then I've got a port that's open that I can't close up, where the EGR valve, it's still closed, you know what I mean? So it's acting as my, you know, port block, so I have to leave it on there till, and with it disconnected, well, it's the same as blocking it anyway. So 6 of one, half dozen the other. But, you know, I bought the part, I want to use it, right? Well, I do and I don't. You know, if I can get away with a bypass and get more power, better mileage, and blah, 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 I'll take that. But anyway, I got to leave that for now. And yeah, this is job 1 of 3 today. So we'll see how we do. Oh my God, the mosquitoes are bad.